Hello, my stamping friends. Christine Ludwig here from Christine Stamping Spot. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in St. Albert, Alberta, and welcome to my Mystery Monday video today for Monday, July the 20th. Oh my goodness, just past the halfway mark of the month. So I hope you're all having a great summer. I hope you all had a great weekend. And today we are going to actually play with a Christmas suite. So it is this Stitch Season Suite is what it's called. It is part of our July online exclusive. So if you would have seen that, there are some really great holiday pieces in there. Not just Christmas, but there's also Halloween and a few other, I think there's even some fall supplies and products in there. Just some really fun products that were released for the July online exclusives. So this was one of them. It's the first time that I've played with these, and it is so fun. Oh my gosh. So this is the stamp set. I just love all of these greetings in here and some extra pieces. And then these dies are amazing. Look at these. There's so many, they don't even all fit onto my, my magnet in here. But I guess the biggest thing is if you are a quilter, you are going to love this. If you know anybody that loves quilting, you have got to send them a card like this or using this particular bundle. It is so perfect for quilters. So we have our large stocking images here, some other extra little squares that have perforations on them to look like quilting, some other pieces here that cut out a tree and a gift, a little strip here that cuts out some little trees, some other dies here, snowflakes, and some holly leaves, holly berries, just so many pieces to this set. Super fun. Okay, so I'm going to show you the card we're going to make. It is really fun too. This just happened to pop up on my Facebook feed, I think last week. And I guess, does it ever happen to you guys? Like, things just random sites kind of pop up. Yeah, so this was from a duo called Creative Moments by G. As far as I can tell, they are a sister team that work together. They're from the States. And maybe it's mostly, I think G stands for Georgia. Creative Moments by Georgia, possibly. But if you search for them on Facebook, you will definitely find them. And they use some really great Stampin' Up! Products and have lots of different ideas. Very energetic, anyways. So the idea that popped up was something they called a hidden pop-out card. Pop-out card. So this is the design I made using this particular suite of products. So you can see there's some little quilting images down here, some greetings, and when you open this up, watch. Ta-da! You have a gift card that pops out. So you don't have to use this for a gift card. If you just wanted to put a really fun hidden message in there, or something funny, a little quote or whatever, you could do that too. But it does work with a gift card as well. Okay, so this mechanism is really super easy to make. I thought, oh my gosh, how did they do that? How am I ever going to do that? But when I did sort of figure it out, it was really very simple to do. And I thought, well, let's pair it with this and see what we come up with. So we are going to attempt to make this just as is, as like the sample. So I'm going to show you the pieces that we need for the base structure, okay? And I will post all these measurements, but if you want to jot down a couple, you're welcome to, but I will jot down the measurements on the post as well. Okay, so the first piece we did, or we're going to do, is 5.5 by 4.25. Now I cut all of these out of Real Red, and it was suggested that you use the same color of cardstock for all of these sort of assembly pieces, just because then they all kind of flow together and there's no kind of chop up of them. So this is going to be our actual card base. So a 5.5 by 4.25 piece here. And then we have a card flap mechanism. So this is also Real Red, and this is cut at 8.5 by 4.25, scored at 4.25. Okay. And then we have another piece that is 6.25 by 3 7/8, and it's scored on one end at 3/4 inches. And then lastly is this strip. So this is 4 3/4 by 1, scored at 1/4 inch on each end. Okay, so we are basically going to start building the back part of the card. Okay, so I'll tell you how that works in a sec. Okay, so let's start with this base piece. So 5.5 by 4.25. And this is going to be our base. So then, nothing to do with that. All right, and then we have this card fold piece. So this is 8.5 by 4.25, and it's scored in the center at 4.25. So we're just gonna fold that in half and give it a burnish here, just to make sure this is nice and crisp on the inside. Okay, so what we want to do with this is we want to attach it right at the bottom of the base with the fold at the top. Okay, so it would open like this. Okay, so we want to really make sure that is secure. So you can use your regular multi-purpose glue. I'm just going to use some Tear and Tape, just because I love using Tear and Tape for a little bit of extra strength. But our multi-purpose glue is also very strong. So I know there are a lot of people that are, you know, very committed to their two-way glue, so or our multi-purpose glue. So no worries about that. And I guess the advantage of the glue is that you have a little bit of time for, you know, some wiggle room if you need to adjust your piece. Okay, so I'm just gonna put this around all of the edges, and for good measure, I'm gonna put one in the center. Okay, so I'm just gonna press all of those down and remove the backing from all of these. Okay, so I know, thinking of Christmas cards, oh my goodness, but it is that time to start thinking of ideas so we can get all those products that we need, right? Okay, so here is the flap. So I'm bringing in this base piece again. I hope you can see this. So I'm going to line the opening here on the back on the bottom of our base. Okay, so you're just going to line up those corners and the sides as best you can and give it a press. Okay, so now it looks like this. This is our base, and this is our first piece that we have put on. Okay, so now we need this third piece, our 6.25 by 3 7/8, and we've scored it, or I have scored it here on one end at 3/4 inches. Now, excuse me, I'm a frog in my throat again. Okay, so we're just going to burnish this fold here. And this is kind of going to be our slider piece. Excuse me one second. Excuse me, I'm totally fine until I start recording the video, and then my throat gets all raspy. So this piece is going to go at the very top of this card base. So we're going to put some Tear and Tape again along the top edge, or your multi-purpose glue, whatever you like. your personal preference. And I'm just going to put 2 strips on here. Okay, and then we'll remove that, the backing. And then we're going to fold this over, okay, on that score line. Bring back our base, and we're going to adhere it in the center along our very top edge of our card base. So I'm just going to turn this around. It's just a little easier for me for a visual. So with the folded side here, if you're doing this upside down, you're just going to center it between these 2 edges. So putting it right up at the top, you're just going to line that up. I just eyeball it and press. And we'll just give it a little burnish on the inside too. Okay, so this is our back part of our card, all right? This is going to be the front. We are working on the back end first. So then this will come up, and then you also have this coming up. Okay, so you all with me for now? All right, so if you're making this with me, let me know. How are you doing? All right, so then the last piece we have is this strip. So this was 4 3/4 by 1, and it was scored at 1/4 inch on each end. So I'm just going to fold out on those score lines, and I'm going to add a little piece of tear and tape to each of those ends. I think I'm going to bring out my silicone mat here. This is just so great for not getting your work surface all sticky. Okay, so I'll put one little piece there and one little piece, oops, here. And again, or your liquid glue. Okay, so let's remove these backers. Okay, so now what you're going to do, you're going to open up this flap, the largest flap, and you're going to leave this one down. So you're going to fold over those 2 score lines with the adhesive, and you're going to line the bottom edge of your strip with the bottom edge here of your cardstock, okay? So you're just going to place it here in the corner, lining it up on the edges and the bottom, and then line it up on the other side as well, okay? So then if you like, you can take your bone folder and just kind of give it a little burnish underneath. Okay, so now you have this flap and this flap, and you have this strip here. So what's going to happen is this flap is going to tuck into this strip that we just attached. Okay, so when you flip it over to the front, when you open it up, that bottom part is going to slide out. Is that not so cool? And that's it. That's all you have to do for the mechanism to get this to work. Okay, so now let's do some decorating. So I think we're going to start with the inside and this back before we get to the front, because the front is a little more detailed. All right, so let me bring out my pieces. So I'm not going to decorate the back too much. I just want to put some designer paper on our strip. So this designer paper I cut at 4 inches by 3/4, okay? Now I have to show you this designer paper first before I go on and some of the other pieces. I forgot to do that right at the beginning. So if you're wondering, what is this designer paper in the suite? It is this one. It is called a Stitched Season. It is part of the suite. So with this suite, you get the stamp set, the dies, the designer paper, and you also get a spool of ribbon, which is real red. It's this stitched ribbon, which is so fun. And you also get a package of these buttons, which I don't know if you can tell, they have a little bit of a shimmer around the edges. Okay, so you get a pack of buttons as well. Now this designer paper is really, really nice. Again, if you like quilting or know somebody that likes to quilt, this is awesome. All right, so what if I should show you the back side first? I guess it doesn't really matter. Okay, let's start here. Okay, so we have all of these squares here, which you can cut apart, right? And you've got the little cardinal and some gifts and trees. The back side is this beautiful plaid. So the colors in this palette, if you're wondering, Cherry Cobbler, Old Olive, Peaceful Pine, which is one of our new in colors, Pecan Pie, Real Red, and Secret Sea. Okay, so this is, I'm guessing these colors are the Secret Sea with the Peaceful Pine in this beautiful plaid. And look at this with the birds and the cardinals. Oh, this is so pretty. And on the back, you have the candy canes here on the Real Red. And then this one is lovely. So you could just cut this in strips, or you could just cut it to make a card front. That would be lovely all by itself. And then you have the Real Red with just a few little posies on there. And here, a nice quilt pattern. All right. And then you have these posies on the back with the Old Olive, I believe, in here. And then this large one, which almost looks like a top of a quilt patch all by itself, right? Just so, so nice. And then you have the Secret Sea snowflakes on the back, which are beautiful. And then this one, more of a traditional sort of quilting square piece, which you could cut into pieces if you liked. You could even, there's probably some dies that, or even just fussy cut in, you know, you could just piece this together however you wanted. And then we have the holly with the berries on the back. So really, really nice designer paper. So the pattern that I'm using today is, let me just see if I can grab it out of here and I'll show you. It is, which one did I use now? Hang on. No, I didn't use that one. That one. It is this one. That's the one I believe I'm using because I like the size of that. Okay, so let's get back to our card. So we're going to decorate the inside and the back. So like I said, this piece of the designer paper is 4 by 3/4. So let's just put some adhesive on that, and we will put that here on the back. Okay, just for a little bit of color. You could add a piece here if you wanted, but it's not really that necessary. Okay, so for the front, this is where I would put my greeting, okay, when I opened it. So I'm going to put a piece of basic white on there. And this measures 4 inches by 4 inches. Okay, so we're just going to add that. And if you wanted to stamp on here or add a little strip of designer paper, you could do that too. So let's just put this here. And then I wanted a piece of designer paper underneath the gift card, okay? Or if you're just putting another message, hidden greeting, you could put some designer paper and then another piece of basic white, stamp, or just handwrite your little hidden message. So I'm going to put a piece of designer paper, the same one, and this is 2 1/4 by 3 5/8. Okay. Is this the one? Yeah, we'll put it just right here. Yeah, okay. So whichever pattern, there's holly on the back, whichever you like. So I'm just going to put this here, and then I just attached my gift card with some glue dots. If you have double-sided adhesive or something they could peel off, you could use that as well. But the glue dots, I think, hold it down pretty well. Okay, so I'm going to slide this closed and slide this closed, and we're going to decorate the front. All right, so to start, let me grab my pieces here. Okay, so our first piece is our Forever Plaid 3D embossing folder, which I used on a piece of basic white. And this measures 5 1/4 by 4, and the plaid is this one, our Forever Plaid 3D folder. So I'm going to put this on first. And we'll put that on top. There are so many decorating possibilities. And this doesn't have to be for Christmas. It could be for birthday. You know, if there's someone you like to give a little gift to, you know, you could definitely use this design for a birthday card as well. But I thought, well, for Christmas, a lot of people give gift cards because sometimes people are very difficult to buy for. I know our family can be. And this is just a really fun way to showcase that, right? Okay, so now let's work on our stocking. So in the dies, you have 2 stocking pieces right here. Okay, so one is the large, and then this one has all these little quilted pieces in here. So what you're going to do, or what I did for this, is I cut this large piece here out of real red. So that will be the base of my stocking. Then I cut another real red using this detailed die here, okay? So you cut that out, and it comes with all of this stitching on here. Is that not just amazing? Just so, so cool. And then, like, you could leave your stocking like that, because we do have a topper that we cut out, which will be at the top. So if you just want to leave it like that, you can. But I thought, okay, let's go one step further. And I cut another one out of that designer paper we're using, okay, with a smaller stocking die. And it came out like this. Now, when this comes out, it comes out where it's cut, but it's not cut all the way through, okay? So same goes for these bottom pieces here. Now, it does stay in one intact as one like this. So if you wanted to put the whole thing on, you definitely could, okay? Then you wouldn't really need this red unless you wanted to reinforce it a teeny bit, okay? But I chose to cut these apart, and I'm going to use this piece as my guide as to where these pieces are going to go. Okay, so let's start with the bottom. So you're just going to snip at the end where these lines are and at the center, okay? All right, so there's piece 1. So just so I do not confuse myself, I am going to put these on as I cut them. So they will fit exact on top of this little base here, okay? So then let's cut the second one here. And we'll cut it here. And this might just needs a little snip to release. Okay, so then we will put this one here. Now this is going to form a pattern, right? So you want to make sure that, because this one was here, that you keep these in the same order so that when all of the pieces are on, it's going to look just like the DSP. Okay, so see how this sort of little star image came together? Okay, so let's cut off this little toe piece here. And this is the part that is totally optional. Like, it does take a little bit of extra time, but I just love it because so many stockings you see out there do have like a quilt pattern, right? And when you put these together, like, it has the stitching in the right place. It's just, oh, it's just so clever. Just so clever how they designed this. Okay, so let's do the other part of the toe. Now, if you wanted to mix and match, you could flip these around too, if you really wanted something different. Or if you just want to do it out of cardstock, you could do that as well. Okay, so we're almost done that. So we have a couple pieces left to go on the bottom part of our stocking. And let me just cut this straight across. And there's two pieces here. So we'll snip this one and this one. Okay, so let's put this one on first. And stick this one on. And then our last piece here. It's like a puzzle, right? You're putting this puzzle back together. Okay, so isn't that fun? It's now like we have the look of a quilt down here, right? Now you could keep going with the top, but all I'm going to cut out here is this sort of star image. Now this one, just be very careful because it's very delicate. So I'm just going to cut out as I go. Okay, it's just more the centers of this one. So you don't want to cut these all the way off, but they are very delicate. Okay, just to give you a heads up if you're doing this. Like I said, it's totally optional. You do not have to do this part. But I just liked the look of it. I thought, well, let's notch it up just a little bit and see what we can do with some of these dies, right? Okay, so that one, oh, didn't snip that. I'm just a little afraid of going too far because I don't want to cut all of these off. Okay, I think I have got it. Do I have it? Or did I miss a piece? I think I have it. Oh, this little bit there. Okay, so you have this that you could use on another card, right? And we have our little our star. Now, some of these did come apart, but that's okay because we are going to tack them down with some glue. So I am just going to put some liquid glue on here. And you can either put it on the cut piece, or I'm going to try just putting some little dots here on the piece that is on the stocking. Okay, and then I'm going to take actually my tweezers. I think that would be just a little safer. And now you can put this whichever way you like, right? So, I don't know if it really matters. Which way was it in here? Ooh, this was sideways. Okay, well, let's do that. You can always go back and try to figure out the pattern. So I'm just going to drop this on top and gently press this down on top of those little dots of glue. Okay, and there we go. And this you can save for another project. So then I thought, well, that's okay, but maybe I'll add another die. So in the dies, I know I'm going kind of crazy. There's this little one here. Okay, kind of like, I don't know, is that like a snowflake, a quilted snowflake? So it is this one. So I'm just going to put some adhesive on here. Now I could have done this in a different color, but it all depends on the color of, you know, what the pattern is at the time that you're cutting out the cardstock. Okay, that no one knows for sure which colors you're going to get. So I'm just going to line this up so it kind of fits in that shape of the star. Just maybe put it down a bit, like so, and give it a press. I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of white on the white here. Okay. And then I'm going to put this on top of our base. All right, so it will line up just lovely, just lovely. So just be careful if you're using seal so as not to separate these pieces. On the cardstock, it's a little bit sturdier than on the designer paper. So you're just going to put this portion on the base of your stocking, and because it's a little bit smaller, you're going to have a little bit of that red border showing, which is awesome. Okay, our stocking is coming. And then, like I said, we had that white piece. Now, what did I do with it for the top of the stocking? Oh, it will show up. Luckily, I did cut an extra one. So this will fit exactly on top. And this is this die right up here. Okay. So I decided to do it out of white, just for a bit of a contrast to the red, keeping with a little bit of that color scheme that's going on. And we will just cover this up, this top red. Okay, so there is our stocking. So let's just do a little bit of embellishing. So I here put some holly. So I did cut that out. Now these are very small, super small. You can see them on here. So it is inside when you look. Okay, so the holly is this one. It looks like it's just one. It is one die, but each of the leaves come out separate. This holly, these are the berries, and when you run that through, you get 3 sets of berries separate. Okay, so they're very small. It's kind of funny when I looked at them here, you know, almost look like Mickey Mouse and his ears, right? It's just kind of funny. Sorry, I just found that kind of funny. Anyway, back to our card. We'll put our holly leaves here in the corner. And this is the Peaceful Pine, is what I cut these out of. It is a beautiful green. I think going to be very popular with our Christmas cards this season. Okay, so let's just put tiny dot. Oh man, this is going to be tricky on these little berries here. You don't need much, and I don't want it to come just in a big spurt. So there, I think I got it. All right, and then in here, I decided let's just add a teeny bit of bling. So believe it or not, I still had some of these red rhinestone basic jewels. These go back a long way. I'm not even sure how far they go back. But I just thought, oh, why don't I just use some of those while I have them? You could just use our regular rhinestone jewels or nothing if you don't want to do anything. But I'm just going to put a red one here in the center. I think that would kind of pop it up a little bit. Okay, so now we are ready to put our stocking on our base. And so what I'm going to do is pop those up with some dimensionals, our stocking here. Oh my gosh, there are so much potential for different kinds of stockings with these dies and this paper. Oh, you could go crazy. And just be so, have just so much fun with it because there are so many potential combinations you could put together. Just really fun. I mean, and even if you just wanted to decorate a regular card like the front of this one, you could do that too. You don't have to make this fancy card, the fold, the pop-up fold. You could just do a regular card, a regular Christmas card, just like this, okay? Okay, so let's put our stocking on our plaid base. Okay, so I'm just gonna pop it up on dimensionals there. And then merry and bright. So what I decided to do, these greetings are awesome. Sending warm wishes this Christmas. Cheers. Merry Christmas to you and yours. May all your days be merry and bright. I thought that was great. Now, because of the size of the stocking, I thought these, well, this one maybe not so bad, but this one that I was wanting to use would be a little bit long, right? It would just, unless you covered your stocking. So what I did is I stamped it with real red ink on basic white, and then I just trimmed this top part off, and I separated the merry and the bright, and then I put it on some real red cardstock. Okay, so that's how I got that. So this I'm going to pop up with some mini dimensionals here. And I mean, if you have other greetings or you want to just switch this up somehow, you could definitely, you know, just do whatever you're comfortable with. I thought this merry and bright was just kind of fun for a stocking card. Okay, and the fact that it pops out with a gift card is just an extra bonus. I'm not sure people would really expect it, to be honest. Might be a little bit of a surprise. Okay, so let's do merry and bright. Clean up my mess here. Find all of these backers on my floor. And then last, I'm going to add a few more of those little red rhinestones. Okay, you may have other embellishments that work just as well. And if you don't want to put any on, that works too. Whatever you like. Oh, I dropped one. Whatever you like, guys. Do what's right for you, what works for you. Do it as, you know, as detailed or as simple as you want. Nothing says you even have to do, you know, all these layers and things. You don't. You can do whatever works. Okay, so there you go. There is our hidden pop-out card. So your recipient will open it and they will find a surprise tucked inside, which is super, super fun. And like I said, it could be for, you know, any occasion too. For birthday or anniversary or wedding, I suppose you could do that too, make it a wedding theme. So lots of different ideas and possibilities with this design. So I hope you thought that was fun. I hope you will give it a try. And this Friday, when I do my Facebook Live, we're going to do this again, but we're going to switch it up to a landscape. And I'm going to show you how we do that. So come back for that Friday, 10 o'clock, right back here, and we will hopefully see you live on Friday. So have a great week, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.